Okay, so I've now finished showing you how to include Moment.js into your UI library. Now we're going to jump to the actual meat and potatoes of this tutorial, which is actually splitting each one of the components out into its own separate JavaScript bundles. So one of the things that we, from a high level, the important pieces that we need to do in order to tell the ng packager, hey, that each one of these is a JavaScript bundle, is that we need to add three different files to the module folder. And that is going to be a package JSON, a public API file, and then an index file. The package JSON is just going to redirect and point to the public API file that just tells the ng packager what are the exposed classes and modules that need to be seen by the consuming application. The public API, you export anything that's exportable and you define it in the public API. Anything that you want to keep private obviously is not going to be exported or shown in the public API file. And then index.ts just allows for the ng packager to redirect and point to the public API. So let us get started. Okay, so we're gonna go. Okay, cool. Okay, so first things first, we are going to create our package JSON. We're going to start with a howdy name. And here we're going to create, as I said, 3 separate files. So the first one is going to be package JSON. We'll add the details here in a little bit. Then the next file is going to be the public API. Oops. And then an index.ts. Okay, so in the package JSON, let's start with that one. So in the package JSON, we are going to we're going to use this property called ng package. An ng package is indicating what our entry file is going to be. So for the howdy name component, it's just going to point straight to the public API. And then the public API is going to expose all of the various different classes and modules and constants, anything that has been exported within the component itself, within inside that folder, anything that has been exported and can be used by a consuming application. This is where you say export star from whatever file you're using to show to define the export. Okay, then the index.ts, this is very simple. All you do here is just do an export of everything from the public API. Why is this thing not working? There you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's it. So now you've exported you haven't exported. You've defined that this howdy name component can be exported as a separate module. We're gonna do the same thing here with time. So new file, public API. Oops, public API.ts. We're gonna new file, package JSON, and then new file index.ts. Cool. All right. So start there, and now we'll do the same thing here with the just as before with our package JSON. JSON and our public API. We're going to export everything from our module and our component. Cool. Why are we still? Okay, great. Let me see. Okay, so we've done this. The next thing that we need to do, so let me just save this. We're just gonna say indicate to ng packager components separate. Okay. Okay, so one last thing before I forget. So we've already created the index.ts, package.json, and public API. So we've defined that where the files are located, each one of these components is going to have to be split into a separate bundle. Now we need to go to the web apps tsconfig file and modify the paths property. So whenever we are pulling in our components, we are no longer pulling them in just from a generic split howdy UI. We actually want to pull them in from a specific location, and the location is going to coincide with this particular regular expression. We're gonna go and get our components from split howdy UI, source, and then whatever component it gets defined inside of the source file. So that's why we have the asterisk right there. All right. So now what we need to do is at the lib section, we need to change this information to just point to the various different new components that we're separating out as bundles. So the public API TS file at the source level section is just going to act as a guidepost. It's just going to tell ng packager, hey, I don't have anything here. You might want to go talk to those other components that are inside the lib folder. So what you do is you just direct ng packager, go to name, go to time, and there's going to be an index.ts file there that will tell you what you need to bundle up. So, all right. So here I'm going to say name, and then I'm going to say time is the next one, right? And we are done. Done. Okay. So guidepost for source level and ng packager library. ng package. Okay, cool. Oh, what? Oh, whoops. Moved too fast. All right, so okay, so what we've done is now we've created our files, we've exported them, we've told ng packager, hey, when you bundle our stuff, make sure that it's being exported separately into separate bundles. So now what we need to do is we need to go to our web application package.json and add a script that will help us bundle it all up. And then if we want to consume and use this library in another application and replicate as close as possible what the behavior will be like if you were to bundle your UI library and share it via npm. What you want to do is you want to build your UI library, go into the distribution area, and then run npm pack, and that's going to create a tarball, an archive file, package file, which usually gets pushed up to npm, and where people would use to do npm install. But here, because we're developing locally, and I don't want to go through that step of publishing to npm. I'm just going to pack it and then use it in a later section of this tutorial. I'll show you how to import it into your machine, into your consuming app. But for right now, what we're going to do is going to add the the npm script that will build our project. I'm going to show you how to pack it, and then we'll end it here. Okay. Oops. Switch cameras. Cool. So what we want to do is we want to build our library. So we go to, let me close everything off because I don't like too many files being open. So at the level of the web app, there's a package JSON. In here we add another script inside of npm, and it's going to build our split howdy project in prod mode, and then we run it. And what it's going to do, it's going to create a bundle. So let me just build lib, boom. Okay, so we ran our build for the library, and you're gonna get this message at the very end. Ignore the warnings. We don't really care about this. What I'm trying to show you is just the bundling aspect, and that we succeeded in building an Angular package. So now what we've done is we've created in our dist folder, using the Angular package format. We've created multiple bundles in different formats, and at the very high level, we've included our README, a public API, and then in our lib, we've created, I'm sorry, not the lib, in our source folder, we include our separate, our different descriptions of our components, and we should have it now using UMD format, which is what I believe a fallback method. The fallback format for our files. They're also created here in UMD format in separate bundles. But we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. So now we have our components separated out. So then what we need to do is, in order for an external consuming app to use our split howdy and for us to code locally, what we need to do is, I closed it. I didn't want to close it. We need to go into the dist howdy UI folder, right? That we have here. Where did I go? Where did I click? Oh, split howdy, sorry. Dist split howdy UI. Cool. And then this is where we have all of our bundles. And we run npm pack. An npm pack is going to create a tarball for us. There you go. We have a tarball, and now we can consume this tarball in another consuming application for us to be able to use it and to just verify that everything's working.